Have you ever wondered why some companies just get it? Their employees are genuinely fired up about sustainability, while at other places, it's a struggle just to get people to use the right recycling bin? Well, it's not about putting up more posters or creating stricter rules. Today, we are going to dive into the secret sauce that can turn a workplace green initiative from just another chore into a real, shared mission.
We've all seen them, right? Those cheerful, "Go Green" posters in the break room, begging us to save paper or turn off the lights. And yet, how often do they really work? More often than not, these top-down rules just kind of get ignored. They become background noise. So what's going on here? Well, the heart of the problem is this huge gap between what a company says it wants to do and what actually happens on the ground day to day. Research, especially from places like Ghana's hospitality industry, really shines a light on this. Think about it. In a super high-pressure environment with a lot of employee turnover, even the best green plans are usually the first thing to get pushed aside.
And that leads to two very different outcomes. On one hand, you've got forced compliance. This is the "you have to do this" approach. And yeah, it might get you the bare minimum, but nobody's heart is really in it. But on the other side, you have inspired action. And this is the holy grail. This is when employees go the extra mile on their own. They're suggesting new ideas, encouraging their coworkers, not because they have to, but because they actually want to.
So, the big question is, how do you get from that grudging compliance to genuine inspiration? Well, the research points to one massive game changer, a special kind of leadership style. It's called Environmental Transformational Leadership, or ETL for short.
Now, ETL isn't your classic top-down management style, not at all. It's really an approach that's built on inspiring and motivating people. So instead of just handing down a bunch of rules, these leaders create a compelling shared vision for sustainability. They don't just give orders, they connect with their teams and offer real, genuine support to make that green vision a reality. And here's what that actually looks like in the real world. Leaders who are good at this, they totally walk the talk, they're role models for green behavior. They give personalized support, recognizing that everyone's different. And this is key. They empower their teams by building up these shared green values, and they get everyone to think outside the box about solving environmental challenges. It's much more about being a coach than being a commander.
Okay, so how does this leadership style actually work? It's not magic, right? The research shows it sets off a pretty powerful chain reaction. Let's break down how that happens.
Right. So the really important thing to get is that this isn't just a simple cause and effect thing. A leader can't just say, "Hey, be green," and poof, it happens. Instead, what their approach does is it kicks off this series of psychological and behavioral shifts that kind of ripple out through the entire team.
And here's that chain reaction step by step. It all starts with the leader, the ETL. But their inspiration doesn't just create team-wide change overnight. First, it influences individual employees to start adopting what the researchers call pro-environmental behaviors, or PEB. These are personal habits, like being a little better about recycling or saving energy. But then, something pretty amazing happens. Those individual habits start to build momentum, and they grow into what's called green organizational citizenship behavior, or GOCB. This is the good stuff. This is when the team starts working together voluntarily on green ideas that go way beyond what their job description asks for.
The researchers actually define this final step perfectly. GOCB is about employees actively coming up with green suggestions, championing environmental programs, and conserving resources as a team, and doing it all without needing some kind of formal reward. That's it. That's the inspired action we were talking about earlier.
Okay, so we've got this awesome chain reaction. But what if you want to speed it up? Make it even stronger? Well, the research points to 3 key tools. Think of them as boosters that can really supercharge a leader's impact.
And these aren't just some random ideas pulled out of thin air. They're actually grounded in a pretty well-known framework called the Ability, Motivation, Opportunity Theory. It basically says that for people to do a great job, they need 3 things: the ability to do the task, the motivation to want to do it, and the opportunity to actually make it happen. Makes sense, right?
So booster number 1 is green training. This is the ability piece of the puzzle. See, it's not enough to just inspire people. You've got to give them the practical skills and knowledge to act on it. How does this new composting program actually work? What are the best ways for me in my specific role to save energy? Training gives you those answers. Booster number 2 is green rewards. And this, of course, tackles motivation. Now, even though that team-level effort is ultimately voluntary, rewards can be a really powerful amplifier. And we're not just talking about big bonuses here. It could be public recognition for a great idea, a team lunch, really any incentive that shows the organization truly values these extra efforts.
And finally, the third booster is something called green self-efficacy, which creates the opportunity for action. This is all about confidence. It's the belief an employee has in their own power to actually make a real difference. When a leader provides support, trusts their team, and celebrates the small wins, they build this self-efficacy. They empower employees to feel like they can do it, which gives them the confidence to seize the opportunity to act.
All right, let's pull all of this together now into a simple, straightforward playbook that pretty much any leader can use.
Here we go, the whole strategy in one place. Your goal is to inspire action. The play is to lead by example. That's the ETL, using vision and role modeling as your tools. Then, to nurture those individual habits, you bridge leadership to behavior through empowerment and trust. And finally, to really supercharge your impact, you use those three boosters: training, rewards, and confidence.
So really, the whole point is this. If you want to create a workplace that is truly and deeply green, you have to think bigger than just rules and regulations. It's all about a kind of leadership that inspires a culture where people voluntarily and enthusiastically want to be part of a shared environmental mission.
And that leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Whether you're a CEO, a team manager, or someone who just wants to leave from where you are, ask yourself this: is my approach creating temporary compliance, the kind that vanishes the second I look away? Or am I building a real foundation for lasting, passionate commitment?